fellow book fans. I'm back with another video. Today I am going to be talking about and taking a look at Fangirl, the graphic novel. I'm so very excited about this book. I think it's fabulous. This is the graphic novel version based on the original story by Rainbow Rowell. The graphic novel was adapted by Sam Maggs and illustrated by Gabby Nam. Hope I'm saying your name right. I always worry about that when I say names. I'm like, am I getting it right? I always mean to. Yeah, I do my best. Anyway, this is the graphic novel adaptation of Fangirl, the novel by Rainbow Rowell. And I really enjoyed this graphic novel. This is volume 1. I think it's supposed to be done in 4 parts. So this is part 1, and I guess let me go over a bit about what happens in this story, and then I'll show off some details that I like within the graphic novel itself. So Fangirl tells the story of Kath, and Kath suffers from anxiety. I mean, she has severe anxiety. I actually really like that about Kath. I really related to the character a lot. So when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a bit too close to home. But Kath has just gone away to college, and she's excited about college. She wants to study English and writing, and she's very excited about that aspect, but she also has severe anxiety when it comes to dealing with other people. So she's nervous. Well, really, when she first gets to her new college dorm room, there is a guy in her room, and she's kind of like, who is this and what is going on? It is not her roommate. It turns out to be her roommate's friend, Levi, who is literally like a living sunshine. I really like Levi overall, although I feel like some things in his character, I was like, why aren't you more like upfront about certain things from the beginning? I don't know. Kat's actual roommate she meets later, and it's Reagan, and she's just kind of a cool character. She's kind of punky, not like really full punk, but I mean, she just kind of has an attitude. She has a presence, and she's kind of gruff. Like, she's willing to say to Kath, like, why are you doing this? And why aren't you asking for help? Whatever. And that relates to what Kath ends up doing. Kath does try to go and eat in the cafeteria at her university, but she panics. She gets so nervous about all the people that are there. What is she supposed to do? Where is she supposed to go? Where should she sit? And so she runs away and she starts hiding in her room, and she'll just eat like energy bars, and that will be her main meal, is just the energy bar. And eventually Reagan calls her out on this and is like, I'm your roommate. Why aren't you asking me for help? Like, let's go down to the cafeteria and actually eat food. Besides that, you're almost out of energy bars because Levi keeps eating them. She like has this panic and this anger at Levi for eating her energy bars without her approval, but that's besides the point. Let's get into other things. So other issues that Kath is currently dealing with and that is kind of triggering her anxiety. Before graduating from high school and going on to college, Kath had all these ideas in mind about how it was going to be, and most specifically, Kath has a twin sister, Ren, and she imagined that Ren would be her roommate and that they would be, you know, partners in this whole new college life experience. But I think it was right before graduation. I don't think it was after. Ren sort of did this turnaround where she suddenly chopped off all of her hair, and she announced to Kath that when they went away to college, she wanted to room on her own. She wanted to just be put into a separate place. She didn't want a room with Kath. She wanted them to have a separate identity, to not be just known as the twins and then compared and seen that way. And it's a lot for Kath. And on top of that, she and Ren used to be fan fiction writers together, and she enjoyed that experience. She felt like they were both had that same passion for the fictional world that they were writing fan fiction for, and it's the world of Simon Snow. And Simon Snow is essentially like a Harry Potter character. So if you in any way know the Harry Potter fandom world, especially in the early days when there was a lot of the beginning of that passionate fan fiction for the Harry Potter world, and a lot of writing those stories and trying to get them out before J.K. Rowling finished the series in general. That is essentially what, Kath's role is in this. She's like one of those fan fiction writers. And on the one side, it's great because fan fiction really got her into writing, and it made her pursue her education in creative literature. Creative writing, creative literature, that's bizarre. So she really was pursuing creative writing because of that whole passion from Simon Snow. And she used to love writing with her sister. They were great partners for throwing ideas at each other. Her sister, I'm trying to think of how it was. This sister, I think, was great with description, maybe? Anyway, the two really related well to each other. The parts that Kath was struggling with, Ren would make up for. So now Kath is really thrown into this new world where she feels alone. She has been writing her final kind of magnum opus to the Simon Snow world on her own for a while. It is called Carry On, or Carry On Simon? I think she calls it Carry On Simon. Yeah. Duh, because the actual book is Carry On. So she's writing her big magnum opus of fan fiction, Carry On Simon, and her goal is to get it done before the final book in the Simon Snow universe is created, because once the official canon is down, there is less of that passion and that drive to create your fan universe, your fandom. So your nice fanon. Fanon is such a great word. Anyway, so she wants to make sure she gets hers done before the official is released. And she thinks she can do it, even though she's also nervous about having to deal with her college life and her assignments. She doesn't know what it's going to be like. But in general, she's very excited to pursue her final writing credit. So she's dealing with a lot, let's just say that. On top of all of these things, you are hinted at throughout the story that, actually more than hinted at in the graphic novel. I feel like in the book it was more hinted at. In the graphic novel, it's pretty laid out quite well that Kath and Ren's father, while a loving and excellent father, he also deals with mental health issues. And just from the way it's described, I believe it's manic depression. In fact, that is also triggering Kath's anxiety, is that she's worried about leaving her dad and how her dad is going to handle not having his daughters around, helping to take care of him in the household. So it's kind of her really taking on things that she doesn't have control over. This shouldn't be new to anybody who actually has anxiety. You probably know that that's what it's like. You want to kind of problem solve for people that you love, and you worry about them so much that sometimes you don't take care of your own self. You're too worried about taking care of somebody else's mental health and well-being that you forget that you're kind of injuring your own self. And that definitely happens to Kath. She's so worried about her dad. But there is a scene in here where Kath goes back to visit, and her dad seems to be more at a manic state at this point. So he's doing okay in her books. Probably still not ideal, but he's able to work and get up each day. So she's not as worried. Whereas if he were in a depressive state, she would have been more worried about what was happening with him and what was going on. On top of that, there are definitely hints that stuff is going on with Ren. That is worry-inducing. Like it's not. It may be seen as normal behavior to a lot of people, but actually it's kind of not okay. And in her case, she's really, really getting into the party scene of college life. She's drinking a lot, and she's always out partying. And so Kath is worried about that as well. Yeah. And all this happens within the first part of the story. There are 4 more parts. When it comes to college life in general, Kath begins her classes, and she's very excited about the creative writing course that she got into. It usually is reserved, I believe, for upperclassmen, but she was able to test into it. So she's very excited that she gets to take this class, and she starts off really loving it, but her first major assignment, she actually writes a fan fiction story for, and her teacher fails her for plagiarism, which is one of the big things about fan fiction, is that it is technically plagiarism. I said that weird. It is technically plagiarism. You are infringing on someone else's copyright. So that's a hard pill for her to swallow, because she's always lived in that world, and she can very easily go into the mind of Baz or of Simon. But she isn't so great yet, necessarily, about creating her own world and her own characters. And this kind of throws her for a loop, but I think she is going to persevere. I actually know what happens because I already read the novel, and I would recommend reading the novel. I think it's pretty good. I like it. So let me show you some of the things about this edition that I love. And one is really the artwork that is done. Let me see if I can find a good. So here we have Kath and Levi, and you're going to see like Levi is a little kind of ray of sunshine character. He's great character overall. And he's been pretty cute. Oh, this page has Reagan and Levi, as well as Kath. And the other part that I absolutely love about this, I will say you will also love getting to see Kath develop friendships and relationships. I mean, essentially just friendships with these other characters. So as she gets to know Levi and Reagan, it's great to see them kind of drawing bits of Kath out, and pretty much convincing her that it's okay to be herself and to push the boundaries a little bit, and maybe even ask for help when needed. And also accepting help when you didn't ask for it, because maybe you need it and you're not asking for it. But I do love getting to see their interactions and the growth of their relationships. And I do think it's successful at doing that. While also just having really nice, pretty art to look at. There's other relationships you'll see as well. I forgot to mention that, like, Kath does have a boyfriend at the start of the book, but she has to deal with issues there. They're going to different colleges, and stuff happens. I don't want to spoil everything and all the relationships that happen in the story itself. It's very enjoyable to read that and see what happens. But this is my other favorite. The artwork for Simon and Baz that occurs throughout it. When you read the actual novel, you'll get to read some of Kath's fan fiction, and I actually really enjoyed that too. I say in this kind of case, it's great if you can do both. If you can read the actual novel and enjoy the graphic novel, that's probably the best, because I really liked getting to read the fan fiction parts from Kath. And you get a bit of that in how it's done here, but it's still a little bit different. But I absolutely love the artwork that's put in there. And I seriously would love a graphic novel adaptation of Carry On, which became Rainbow Rowell's book that's like the actual story of Simon and Baz. So there's the, I guess the original work that would have occurred, I can't remember the author's name now, that would have occurred in this that inspired Kath to write Carry On Simon. But then there's the work that Rainbow Rowell wrote, which is quite different from both depictions that are within Fangirl. Maybe a bit closer to Kath's, but still quite different. So this volume ends at a bit of a cliffhanger. Kath receives a text message that has a 911 message on it, so something's happening. I do know what happens, but yeah. I can't wait for volume 2 to be released. I also really like the color choices here. It's very autumnal. This was released in the fall. This was released in October. Probably saw it in my October book haul where I did talk a bit about it as well. But I loved this. It was very enjoyable. And I love the cover. I can't wait to see what colors they choose for the next volume. I guess it will depend on when it's out. I was thinking like maybe they could do the 4 seasons to go with it. I don't know. I'm most excited. All right. So pick up Fangirl, the graphic novel, if you want, or the novel, or both. I would do both, but pick up this one. Available now. Until next time. Bye.